Dave here. How are you? I trust everyone has had a good week and cold or hot or whatever. It's been pretty warm here in New South Wales over the last few days, but today has gone a little bit cooler, thank heavens. Anyway, I just made comment because I saw people making comment in the chat down the side there. Thank you very much, Kiwi007. Now, today I'm going to be, this is not port, this is grape juice. I've weaned myself off port, believe it or not, and now I've substituted with grape juice, and I wouldn't know the difference except for I'm feeling better. Now, thanks again, Peter. All right, so the things that we're going to have on the show today, we've got a big one. You might see all this stuff in front of me here. I'm going to give it away. Can you believe it? This is hundreds of dollars worth, and I'm just going to give it away, and I'm going to post it anywhere in the world. Check in the video description down the bottom and you can see how to enter. So today on the show, the 22nd of November 2020, nearly Christmas. Well, go get some port. No. I'll leave that go for the moment. Okay, so design and start to cut the quilting table for Viki. This is something that she's been wanting for a long time, and my cousin Caroline has a really nice quilting table. She does beautiful quilts, and she has a table that the machine is actually the sewing machine. It's a special sewing machine, but it's a sewing machine nonetheless, and it's recessed into the top. So as she's working with a thing that might be a couple of meters by a couple of meters, she can slide it across without having to go up over an arm and maybe distort the pattern. So that's the plan. I've drawn some sketches of it. I'm old-fashioned. I haven't done it in Aspire. I haven't done anything on layout for the sheets to cut. We're going to do it all using this track saw and these guides. So this is my set, and I'm giving them away. The reason I'm giving them away is TSO have shipped over their absolute latest set. Now, there's not a lot of difference, but there are some little bits of difference. And I thought to myself, you know, I've been very fortunate being given this set, and I'm going to pass the goodwill on. So there's a couple of questions you'll have to answer, and that's from the site. And so you follow the link that I've given you in the raffle copter competition. It's going to run for about a week and a half. Now, I've jumped off the subject back to a previous subject. Should I go back to the subject I was actually talking about, or skip ahead? I don't know. I'm distracted. The dog's here again with me, and she's stealing things again. She likes the Bessie riser blocks that you'll see her carrying them around the workshop. She's going to take it under the table here. All right, dowels and dominoes, end grain and glue. This is a subject that I mentioned during the week and just on Facebook, and some people looked at me like, what planet are you on? And I'm going to discuss that a little bit as well. One of the other things I see is going to be happening is TSO's Black Friday sale. Now, Black Friday sales are going to be going absolutely everywhere over the internet with lots of companies. But I was surprised to see TSO do it, and they've sent me some information about it. You may want to take up the offer because it's not just specials on some items. They are doing free shipping. I'll say that again. They are doing free shipping to the contiguous 48 states when customers spend $100 or more. Now that is on its own a fantastic thing, but to be able to pick up things on special as well, I'd be doing that. I'd be doing that if I lived in the United States. So there's 48 states, New South Wales, Victoria and Queensland aren't part of those states. Sorry, guys. Or Western Australia, none of them. All right. So what have we got here? Also, check the video description for the giveaway, my very own 30 and 50-inch parallel guide system. And then next week also we'll be continuing work on the quilting bench for Viki. Now, I might first of all have a glass of port. Feed us some cockroaches, eh? All right. I'm just having a quick read down the side here. Hello, everyone. Rather than just say people's individual names, I'm just going to say a blanket hello. Now, this is a piece of rosewood, and you can see that's face grain, and edge grain, and end grain. Now, it's common knowledge that when gluing with wood glue onto end grain, you don't get as good a bond as you do on the edge or face. If I'm just gluing two pieces of wood together, I prefer to have face. Otherwise, everyone would be joining end to end. And you notice with manufactured board, like I have on top of my docking station here, manufactured board, all of the end grain is finger jointed together as well while they, tighten it all up. Across, side to side, it's not finger jointed. It's just a straight butt joint. Now, when the question arose when someone was talking about using a domino, which is basically a non-rotating dowel. Let's just go with a dowel because it's going to be easier for me to explain. With a dowel, if I drill a hole through the face, half of the grain that is going to be anchoring onto that dowel is going to be orientated face or edge grain, and the other half is going to be orientated end grain. Because, just think about it, drill a hole through there, the grain on the top and the bottom of the hole are going to be the same as there and there. The grain on the sides of the hole are going to be the same as the edge. So if you're doing something, yes, same thing. So sorry, 007, Kiwi 007. You've distracted me there. Not to worry, I'm easily distracted. Because I'll flick the camera on a little bit later on, and you can see what she's up to. Okay, so you can see there, if you're putting a dowel into end grain, you're actually going to get a better bond with the glue, because as that drill has drilled into the timber, it's going to have 50-50 face grain and no, it's going to be all the way around. It's going to be face grain. Do you understand? So as I drill a hole into there, I'm going to get face all the way around. It's only at the end that'll be a bit of end grain left. Now, if I was to drill a hole through the face, let's say I'm going to drill a hole right the way through the face, you can see the end grain there is telling you straight away, only 50% of the grab the glue is going to get is on face or edge grain, and the rest is going to be end grain. So I thought that might just be an interesting thing. I had a few people, alarm bells. What's going on? Why is Dave telling us all this rubbish? That you're going to get a better bond drilling into the end than you are going through the face and gluing something in there. So I thought you might be interested. All right, where are we up to? There's 9 minutes of your life wasted. Let's keep moving on. I might just tip that camera down a little bit. I was in a little bit of a rush to try and get things happening this morning. And I trust everyone's been tuning in to watch Cole Hosey with Gifkin's Jig doing his things. Here we go. This is one of the things she's just been helping out with eating. I'm going to have to secure things in here a little bit better. All right, let's talk about these guys here, because the parallel guides. And I will be using this set whilst I'm doing the beginning of this project, and then I'll crack the new set out towards the end of the project in the next few weeks. But once these are gone, they're gone, and I can't use them anymore. Oh, you're going to get an extra 2 stops as well. So I'm going to supply it with 4 stops. Let's go up to Carl Cam so you can see what's going to actually happen. All right, 4 50-inch and, sorry, 2 50-inch and 2 20-inch. Oh, sorry, 30s. I'm not having a good one, am I? What do you got now? A stick. All right, so 2 30s and 2 50s. Now, how long will that let me cut? The 50s will let me go in metric out to the end here is 50 inches, the same as 1270 millimeters. The 30s will let me go out to 770 millimeters, out to this end, from the edge of the guide rail track. Henry Francis, thank you. Thank you. I'm reading through some of the comments. Okay, so you'll get those two, you'll get guide stops for each, bumpers or whatever, for each individual track. I'm going to throw in 4. There's also going to be 4 of these 6mm M6 speed knobs. Bring them up a little bit closer, and they lock through here, through these holes, into the guide rail adapters or a GRS 16 or PE. I'll throw in the 3mm hex screwdriver and the 2 calibration rods, or actually these can also be known as narrow stock guides. They can go into these guys here instead of the bumper. Let me switch cameras and you'll be able to see it a little bit better. There we go. So, see on here, there's a bumper here. Let me put my hand behind it so you can see it. Now it's just a matter of undoing the screw there and slide one of these rods. There's 2 in a plastic packet there. Slide one of these rods in, and that will enable you to slide it under the rail to a certain degree. You can't go all the way under, you know, you've got to get to a point where the guide rail is not going to rock at all. But it'll let you rip slightly narrower than what you could ordinarily do. Do they come with your autograph? Look, if whoever wins it is that crazy to want me to write my name on the back, I'll write my name on the back with indelible pen. And there you go. Just like the labeling I do on my own stuff that I have in the workshop. These ones I haven't labeled them yet. You know, if they want me to write on the back. All right. So that's the competition. I think that's a pretty good one. You guys don't seem to be all that excited. I'm reading the chat here, and maybe you don't want them. As I say, I'll post them anywhere in the world, but I'm not going to pay any import duties or taxes that might be due if you're in a country that you need to do that. So I'll be stating, I'll be putting a declaration on their value, and they're second-hand, so obviously it won't be the same value as brand new. But these are the previous generation. Now, when I was talking to the guys at TSO, they said, Dave, that's great, do it, but please let everyone know that this is the previous. Sean, you want it? Beautiful. This is the previous generation. Now, these will work with Triton track saws, they'll work with Makita track saws, and they'll work with Festool track saws. They will not work with Bosch or with DeWalt. Okay? Or Grizzly, all those kind of companies. Excellent. Okay, I just thought maybe it was a crappy giveaway and no one was interested. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is slide over here, and I'm going to show you a process of how I rip a sheet down and dock it, and we'll keep moving along with that. I'm going to do it with let me see, I might do it with both cameras. I'm very decisive today, aren't I? Camera 3. Yeah, I'm going to go to the main camera 3. I'm not going to throw up the others. All right. Forget the drawing, just send them to me. Now, oh, that's what we've got to do. Carl, thank you. Thank you very much. I know that's not what you meant to say, but we didn't go through the design process. All right. So I got too involved with what I thought was a great deal. Now, these are different sheets that I've been working through. I wanted to show you basically how I come up with an idea to make something. So that there is basically a 3D drawing of a box that's going to be 2 cabinets and a sewing machine set into the top and sitting on a shelf. Now that was my original part of the design. Brian, you want to get picked? Of course you do, everyone does. Then I came up with this drawing. Now the unit is going to be 1.8 meters long by 1 meter wide and 770 millimeters tall, I think. And you can see the sewing machine there on this end sitting up the top on the unit, as I say, recessed in. This one here is showing it recessed in and some drawers underneath. And then we have an elevation, a plan view on this side here. Right. So this is my thinking process that I do. I don't know if anyone else does the same kind of thing. Then I went to different designs and was looking at possibly doing it 600 wide instead of 1 meter wide, and Viki said no way. Then I was looking at using a piano hinge to rotate as part of the cabinet out from underneath to act as a support for a wing to put her overlocker and what have you to her right hand side. So Viki is right-handed, and the sewing machine has an arm that works, that's open on the left-hand side. It's very similar to my drum sander. My drum sander's arm is open on the left-hand side, so I can feed wider material through my drum sander. Viki wants to do the same thing with her quilting. So she'll roll things up and then she'll feed it through, but she might want to have maybe 1.5 meters of quilt hanging out to the side. Now this machine, this quilting machine, will do different patterns, like she can import an image of a butterfly and she can stitch a large butterfly through this. They have these kind of clamps that hold the material out flat, stitches away, it goes through the wadding of the quilt and everything, and then undo it from this clamp. Let's call it a clamp. She's going to tell me what it is in a minute. And then, like if she's watching the show, she'll tell me. And then they can move on to another square and do another one. Now this stops the outside of the material from both sides of the quilt separating, like floating around. And in the middle, to give the quilt thickness and comfort, basically keep you warm, it has a thing called wadding. Now it's normally, I think, around about 10 millimeters thick, but it does compress and then expands out again. I think it's some kind of a rayon or something like that. Anyway, she's going to, the stitching, apart from being decorative, locks it together, but still allows it to have thickness in different parts. All right. I have seen the Horn sewing machine cabinet, and that's one of the things I was looking at, Alan. The sorry, I was just reading a couple of things, and I think it's great, but I like to reinvent the wheel an awful lot, if you hadn't noticed. And I just was mucking around with all of those ideas, and then I came up with an idea that instead of, you may have seen this, forget the rotating part with this arc here. Instead of having that, I was thinking maybe just have a secondary cabinet that lives underneath everything. I can slide it out and around to the side. It's on a timber floor, and I'm going to put felt runners under it. Around to the side, and that could support a fold-out arm that increases the size of the whole unit. And I thought that might be a better idea. Now, then we get to a stage of this, and this is starting to get to the point that I'm at. So this unit is the drawer bank area, and also this is the bank of drawers here. Going to be 6 of them. They're probably going to be around about 75 millimeters deep, maybe about 3 inches. This here, I'm looking left to right, is a hopper. And I'm going to make that so that it folds out so she can put her quilts that she's been working on in there away from the dog, so the dog doesn't pull them to bits. And also, yeah, so that's the rear elevation, so you can see it's actually a door that pulls out, but it comes out with all this here. And I don't think I'm going to do it totally in melamine, this area. I might make it out of melamine and timber to lighten the weight of it, because this is going to be pretty heavy, that part. And then we've got what I'm going to start making today. Now this whole thing is going to be in 2 units, 900 by 900 by 770, or actually it might even be a little bit less in height. And they're going to push together, and then I'll anchor them together. I want to be able to get these units in through doorways. I don't want it to be, 1.8 meters long at the beginning, because I'm not strong enough to carry that amount of material when it's made as a box. So there we go. That's the plan. there's a couple of parts where, oh, you're a skanky dog. She's just been outside dragging rubbish in here. Thank you. Look at this old wet hat she's just brought in. You are rubbish. Come here. Come here. Come here, naughty dog. Look. Yeah, who's there? Is that you? Are you having a good time? I thought so. Down you get. All right, you go and play with the hat. All right. She's killing it. All right, trying to focus. Okay, so part of the thing is to support this piano hinge, because we're going to have this unit that overall will be 1.8 long. To extend the length of it, we'll pull the small unit out underneath and put it to the side, but also we'll lift one arm up and put the unit under it, and it'll sit on it. Now, for that piano hinge to work, I don't really like putting screws into melamine that small on a piano hinge. So I'm going to edge strip a fair bit of this job with some jarrah. So we'll be doing that with the domino as well, possibly next week. Now what I'm going to do as well also is I'm not going to do flip over machines. It's a nice idea, Gary, but there's all sorts of things will start falling off them, and this is not a cheap sewing machine. I really don't want to be in trouble with the boss at all. All right, good morning, Cole. Hope you had a good show. I'm sorry, buddy, I didn't get to see it, but I'll try and watch it on the recording. I'm hoping everyone's jumping in and watching Cole do his Gifkins Jig Show. He's got around 20 projects in front of him that he's going to go through. So this is going to be huge. He's going to be doing it for at least a year, and he's having a ball doing it. So you really do need to focus on what's happening, David. You really do need to catch up with him. What you want to do is just 6mm, 1/4" battery. All right, okay, you guys are having a bit of a chat there about other stuff. Yeah, so the jarrah edging, I'm going to domino on, and I'm going to put the piano hinge screws into that, because I think it'll make it last a whole lot longer, and it'll also make it look nicer. The top is going to be a melamine top. I did offer to Viki that I'd do one out of timber for her, but she wants the melamine because it's super slippery, and as she's sliding the quilt round on it, it's going to be easy to work. It's not going to be a pinning table, but she could use it for a pinning table if she wishes. Right, now that I've got all of these drawings here a little bit more detailed, what I do then is I do a cutting list. Now this is for the first unit only. That's great. I'm glad to see that Cole's show is going great. And it's telling me the width and the length of each particular piece, what I'm going to be edging with melamine. Remember, I work through by saying 1L or 1S. S stands for a short side of the piece that I'm putting the edge strip on. L stands for a long side. So I'll either say 1L or 2Ls or none, or 1S or 2S or 2S, 2L. And that lets me know. And then I've also written down here the size of the jarrah as well, and which units are getting it. Okay, so that's all the workings in behind it. It's not that hard, and it's basically a matter of you start with an idea and you focus on it a little bit. Here's another little part, and that's the size of the machine and the distance in from the side of the unit and how much will be left in that particular part, so that Viki can still sit at the machine. I was thinking that maybe she'd like to sit off to the right-hand side a little bit so that all the quilting could go under the arm easily, but no, got it wrong. She wants to be sitting right in front of where the needle is going up and down in the machine. She'll fold things up, she'll have stuff down in front of her, like all rolled up on her lap as she feeds it in, but that's what she wants. But I'm making it so that she can move around in there a little bit if that's not actually how it works for her. So I'm trying to future-proof it a little bit so that she still keeps using it. All right, so my first job of the day is to dock some of these sheets. I'm going to do that with this guy here, and so I'm going to switch over the cameras at long last and get stuck in it. Camera 3. There we go. Right, let me see if I need to change that around a little bit. You can see it's feeding all the way out into the garage as well. I'll rotate that ever so slightly because I'll be on both sides. And I might even try and straighten it up so you don't get seasick. I'm sighting off the garage door there. Okay. I had got the dominoes out because, you know, I was thinking maybe you'd be interested in the thing I was talking about with doweling and so on. But I think we got through it all right. Does that make sense to anyone, what I've said? I'm hoping it does. Now, I have, apart from the cutting list, I also have this. Now this is for the sheets. So I lay out the sheets on there and the dimensions. Here's another drawing. I keep on just drawing away until I get a handle on what's happening. Now I need to pull a sheet in and dock it. I'm going to do what's called a straight line cut, and I'm going to use an old door on top of the bench to do the first cut. I'm going to get some polystyrene foam eventually, and a sheet of melamine on top of it. Having wheels on tables really does help a lot. That doesn't help. This is one of the reasons why I want the polystyrene. This thing's falling apart because it's being cut into so often. Maybe if I do this. Good. That's hanging off the edge at the moment, which is fine. All right. I need to straight line one edge because the edges on the sheets, when you get them, are rubbish. I'll let you have a look at this one down here. Can you see this? You get chip out all over the place and they're rough. And so I need to clean this edge up over here. I'll tip it this way so you can see. This edge here, I'm going to clean up. And I need, of course, a saw. I can move this table out of the way. All of these tables have got wheels on them. So it makes handling plywood very easy for old people, even young guys. Look after yourselves. Quick drink. No, Viki, I'm not going to use homicide. I'm using straight up melamine. This is not going to be a pinning table. If she wants me to get something for her further down the track, I think homicide is more similar to kainite, something like that. All right, I'll get these two guys. Now the parallel guides are left and right. Now, I got to spin that around this way now, so you can see what I'm talking about. I'll duck. Actually, I can shut this door now because it's going to make the exposure on the camera a little bit better. Well, it should do. Maybe not. All right. Now, this is the right hand. This is the left hand. And it says they're labeled. So what I'll be doing is I'll be putting this on my right. So this is from where you're standing when you're setting this up. Okay? It's not from the side you're on with the saw. Now the reason there's a left and a right is because the bumper has to come down below the track and reference. Now we're not going to use these on this quite yet. I'm going to spin it around in a minute after I've done my first straight line cut. Then I'm going to rip a parallel cut using these. So I'll put these to the side again. If I over-explain things, I don't really care. I'm happy to do that. I'd rather people get a little bit bored with me than lose or leave someone behind that's not quite getting what I'm talking about. Spin this back. track saw. I'm using the large hose on the saw. This one I haven't got the Bluetooth connected to, the button, but let's set the Bluetooth on the saw itself to the dust extractor. If I turn this on to automatic and then hold the button down on the Bluetooth receiver, it'll spin, turn the saw on, and it automatically turns on the track saw for me. Put that over there. And I think there's going to be enough length on the hose for me to cut this. Should I throw on some earmuffs or some eye muffs? I don't know if I can reach past the lead that's going to that camera. Thanks, David. I think it's also better to over-explain. Now that the dog's not in here, I can drop that cable off there. She'll come running back in, and I'll be in all sorts of strife. And I can come around a bit further with the camera. So you can watch. Cool. Yeah, I think that's the plan, Carl. I'll just over-explain. It's no skin off my nose. Now, as always, I'm going to do a reverse scribing cut. I'm going to set the saw to 2 millimeters. So FS, for anyone who's not aware what FS stands for on a Festool saw, that's Fuhrenschere, or Fuhrenschini, which is guide rail. And that's basically allowing for the thickness of this guide rail. This part on this side is if I wasn't using a guide rail, I was just using it straight off on the product that I'm cutting. So I'll spin this around, drop it on, going to make sure I got enough length there in the hose, which I do. I'm not clamping it down, it's going to hold on all right, and we'll do the reverse cut. The dog does not like the sound of that at all, but unlucky. All right, without moving anything, I'm going to drop this now down to, I'm going to go to 20, and that will give me enough upcut to give me a clean surface on the bottom of the sheet. More noise, Nessie, more noise. Here we go. I haven't gone all the way through for some reason. I went to 20 millimeters, not on the FS section, on the ordinary part. So we'll pull it back and start again. That's better. Okay, that's looking pretty damn fine. All right, now what I can do there as well is I can create a square end on this end, and then that'll be my reference. I can work off this end, or I'll even put a little square indicator there. So I'll pop this to the side for the moment. Nessie, 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 what are we going to do with you? All right. Yeah, Viki's dog, eh? GRS 16. Let's see. I have the PE. This is the parallel edge version of the GRS 16. I'll tip this up a little. There we go. So that's what this is. And I'm going to put it on a 1400 track. like so. That's it. This is the squarest square I've ever had. This is how I got into these things at the beginning. I was looking for a square and I just couldn't find one that was a good price and going to be strong enough. She's got the offcut. So hence I went with this. She's got the offcut and taken it into a cave. Good on you. Take this back to 2 millimeters on the old FS. Now it's always important to have approach on a track saw more so than the egress, okay, because you need the little cams that are underneath the saw, these green points here. I don't know if you can see from all that distance away. I might bring it up a little closer. I explain this all the time, but it's important. See, these 2 green points here actually hold the saw straight to the track. Keep it parallel, keep that blade parallel to what's happening on the track, which is all very important. If this was in too far that way, the rear one of those green cams would not engage this top hat section on the track, and the back of the saw would wobble around before I've actually, and as I'm cutting, I'm having a rubbish cut at the back. It'll pull straight again as soon as it got on, engaged with that. But at the end, the saw will have finished the cut, so I don't need to have a massive amount at that end. So we'll do a reverse cut on this end. And she knows something's happening. There we go. Done. And then down to 20 with Furanshini side. It does help when you do this and keep your hand against it right at the back here, because the weight of the saw can tend to lift it off, and you're in trouble if that happens. And then you can let go and concentrate on the cut. There's another one, Nessie. That's really nice. I'll show you. This is the offcut. So this is the factory side. You can see it's all rough. And there is the factory edge on the top. And this is the one I just cut. It's really, really nice. And the bottom's good too. There you go, throw that down there for her. Now I've got to do a rip. This is where the parallel guides start coming into play. All right, I want 900 millimeters is what I'm after. So disengage this, pop that out of the way. One day I'll do a video on this whole unit underneath here. It's just I haven't really had time. There's been all sorts of things happening. We've had a death in the family, all that kind of stuff, which tends to slow you up a bit. But we're getting there, we're getting there. All right, that's there, and that's got enough overhang either end. I use a 2.7 metre track. You can get a 3 metre track. Just the 3 metre track wouldn't fit in the car that I had at the time, and it's a fair bit more money. I never use 2.7 metre sheets. I always use 2400s. So for you guys in the States, that would be 2440, which is 8 feet. And this does it just fine. It's close, but it does it. All right, get the guides. Wayne, you're running late. Decided to change campsites at 10:30. All right, you're out in the truck, buddy. Out in your RV. Now, what I say is that one's the left and the other one's the right. Okay, so this one is, I'm trying to read that, my left hand. It's going to go there, so I'll slide that in a bit further. And this one is my right hand. As I say, I'll show you how I know. Oop, because it's written there. and the bumper, the stop, is going to be on the inside towards me. So standing here, I'm going to drop the bumpers in. If I had the parallel guides right on the edge and drop the bumpers out, well then I wouldn't have anything to reference off. I'll get the speed knobs. What do you got now? I'm hoping that she doesn't eat something dangerous in here one day. I keep my eye out for it, but I think she'll be right. All right, now we screw these M6 knobs in. So did you see the video that I released this morning on the using these M6 knobs and creating grabber holders, I guess you could call it. It's not a real word, is it? Grabber holders. For the dogs on my bench for using the track saw in that situation. There's the cursor down here. This is the bumper that's already been calibrated. I've calibrated them already. Now, one of the things you need to know is these are a highly reflective surface that you can't even see what I'm talking about. Here we go. Tip it down so you can now see what I'm talking about. This is the bumper here. So I've already calibrated. There's a screw here that I can adjust that in and out so that it gives me the right distance. I do a cut, I measure it, then I adjust it to be perfect. Then here, these guys must be moved along to being exactly on the indent that's been laser etched into the aluminium or aluminum. So I've got to set that at 900 millimeters. Don't be confused. The top grid or top calibration is inches, imperial, the bottom one is metric. So I'm going to slide it along. If I'm looking from the side, it's highly reflective and I'm not going to get a good reading. So I've got to look right down over the top. So when I get it over the 900 and I can't see the mark from left or right, so the calibration from 901 and 900, if I can't see those, I'm perfect. That's the easiest way to do it. Okay, now I can flip this up and you can see all of the stuff that's going to be happening, and it's going to be a little bit brighter. I go down to the other end and I've got it set at 900 already. So now I just pull it back, drop the bumpers in position, same up at this end, drop them down, and then push the track back down. If I'm doing a lot of this stuff, then I'm really not going to need to worry. Once I've got it set up at the beginning, I just go for it. Turn the camera around a little bit more so you can see what's going to happen down this side. How's that? Yeah, should be able to see that all right. So both the guides are on. And back over here and do my 2mm reverse cut when I've got it set there. I could put clamps on it if I wanted to. You know, why not? Let's have some fun. Got all the toys, let's use them. Now these just slide into the T-track and pull up. And these are a lever clamp. I'll show you what I mean. Bessie and Festool lever clamps, same animal. They work exactly the same. I think Bessie make them all for them and also for Festool. So I'm going to slide that in. It's got to be connecting, David. Ah, that's what was going on. Done. That's in the right position. I didn't really need to do that. That's just showing you what you can do. If it was a super expensive laminate top, I'd definitely do it. There's no way I want that to slip through whatever reason. I just have to make sure that it's not going to go anywhere, and that's how I do it. All right, eye muffs again. I might have a chat to George from Eye Muffs and see if we can do another giveaway. What do you reckon? Anyone be in that? All right, do my reverse scribe. Just talking about the reverse scribe. Ever since I did this reverse scribe on the show, it's amazing how many people have now decided to talk about it. Oh yeah, that's how I do it all the time. I don't think they did. Maybe a few people, but I think there's a few people just trying to jump in and have some fun. All right, I've got it set down to 20 now for the forward cut, and I've got my cams are on the T-track as well, on the guide rail. I'm going to show you how good this cyclone is. This is the Festool separator that I've been using. I've seen a few people have been giving it a bit of grief or haven't been overly happy with it lately. I don't know why, because it works great. I just make sure I put a clean bag in there every now and then. All right, let's start again. Done. Turn off. And back over here. How are we going for time? 1:45. Good. Let me do a couple of dockings. All right. Take this off, and you can have a look at the edge that I've got achieved, which is just as good as a sliding panel saw. That's the waist. And on the other side, well, not as good. Why was that happening? I don't know. But the top, which is the one I'm using, is perfect. That scribe cut really is brilliant. Now I'll take these off. Otherwise, what I normally would have done would grab the other sheet, because I've got some more 900s that I've got to cut. But I just want to keep the demonstration going. You guys, as I say, anyone wants these, you've got to enter. Use the affiliate link to go in, and it will take you straight in, as I say, and 2 questions that I want you to have a look at. There's 5 answers, but I only want 2 of them. So it can be any of the 5. If you're really keen, you can throw all 5 in, but it's not going to improve your chances, because it's a random selection. Once I'm sure that I've been that I have the what could I say? The right. What have you got now? A bone. She's been over to the other building and someone's given her a bone. All right. Oh, that's nice. That is so nice. Yes. So where was I? I was saying that. I only need 2 of the 5 answers, and it's very easy to find. The competition, as I say, is going to run for a week and a half. Hear that noise? That's her wanting to bury the bone. That's the square. That says that's the square corner. Oh, Baroness, so hard, isn't it, darling? I love it. I want to see if I can get around to this corner here and show you what I've been talking about. Maybe this one will be fine. If I drop this down a little. Oh. She does this in the lounge room. She just wanders around with something she wants to bury and starts sooking. She's looking for a spot to bury it. Nessie. Oh, you're a funny dog. All right, so here we go. This is the corner. This is what I've just cut. This was from the factory. Rough, super clean. Very happy with it. All right, I'm going to go down to the far end. Yep. Oh, poor old Nessie, poor old Nessie. And we're going to cut. She's still wandering around trying to find the perfect spot. Can't believe it. All right, get the PE out again and a track. Slide that on. The PE lets me put it on from this side or the far side, depending on where I'm at. You know, there might be something in the way on one side or the other. Just gives me a little bit more options. Now the parallel guides I can also set up to give me set lengths, and but I'm not going to in this particular situation. I'm just going to go straight off what I've got written here. All right, so I'm going to do this one first. So 900 by 754. So that's going to be pretty easy. Just measure out 754 millimeters. 754. Now it's not a very sharp pencil line. I should be doing something better than that, but I know where it was that I needed to be. Okay, this guy here on there. And this is the important thing as well. This part here, do this flicky thing. And that stops the rubbers underneath here holding on and giving you a false sense of security that you've got it square. Do this a couple of times and it allows them to release and come down properly, being guided by the square, by the GRS 16. All right, that's where I've got it cut. And the dog has found what she wanted to bury, and she's actually backfilling. She's pushing the towel over the top of the bone. If I drag that out of there, it's going to annoy her. Nope, she's all good. Okay. I'm not going to show you her now because she's got a bum way up in the air. All right. Let me see if I can do this without knocking the camera over, because I've got the dust hose right beside it. And around it, go to 2 millimeters. Again, to the other side. That's all good. Reverse cut. Plunge. Done. That's my first panel. All cut. Have a look at that. That is super duper clean. Now, I'm also going to measure the diagonals. Just show you how nice this all works. Now, I'm not going to cheat. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the camera right on that corner so you can see I really am trusting in what I'm going to do here. I'm going to measure the diagonal the other way to start. In metric, it is 1174, or very, very close. Oh, here I go. You tell me. What do you think of that? Okay, I can breathe again. It's called trust in your tools, isn't it? There we go. Put that back up there. Come back over to this side. Switch the cameras back to the main one. Okay. All right, we're just about done, and I'm going to have a quick read down here. You copied and pasted 2 answers straight from the site. Correct, home. The sliding panel saws do have a scribing blade at the bottom, and it turns it the opposite direction to the main blade. Were you aware of that? So whilst the top blade, if I'm feeding in from here, the top blade is spinning this direction, the bottom blade is spinning this direction. And that's because it's pushing, it's basically called climb cutting. It's pushing back into the product rather than coming down out of the product and chipping the surface. So that's why they have to work opposite directions to each other. And another quick drink. Where's this dog? I'm happy with that. Very happy. So I'll spend the beadlock system. Yeah, I've used the beadlock system as well, and it works well. Basically, it's a drill and a block, a guide block. And what it does is it positions the holes to be drilled hard up against each other, basically. Then you move it, and it moves at 50% of the width, the diameter of the hole. So it's the radius, basically, to the left or to the right. And you drill again, and it guides it down. So it gives you this kind of figure-8 shaped pattern down the side, or scallop pattern down the side. Works well. Okay. Now, let me have a quick read here. I'm going to do some more cutting this afternoon because I want to cut all these up. Won't take long. Once you get the first part set up, it just flies on really quickly after that. Okay, next week we're continuing on this for Viki's bench, quilting bench. I hope you're enjoying this kind of stuff. I don't know. See, I'll do things about sharpening chisels and sharpening planes, and then I'll do a project. And, as I was saying, I'm going to finish this project, and then I think I will move on to doing a screen door or two for this particular room, so that I can open it up and let a nice cool breeze come in after the heat of the day is gone, because this room stays quite nice. Outside it's 31 degrees outside, it's 24 in here. I haven't got any air conditioning running today or the fans. So 24, let me tell you what that is in Imperial. So if we switch over to Fahrenheit, that's 87 outside, 75 inside. And that's quite comfortable. She's come in with there's more treats for her. This is my mother-in-law. She gives, she's buried one bone in the corner under the sink, and she's just gone and got oh, please give me more food. All right, as I said, I'm going to keep on working on this. I'll cut a bit out, and then next week, I think what we'll do is assemble this first cabinet. So I'm waiting for this sewing machine to arrive for Viki, because I have to put a dado in the sides of, well, I call them gables, but everyone else calls them sides of the cabinet. I got to put some 2mm deep dados in for this shelf to go into, for the machine to sit on. I want it to be very accurate. And we'll keep moving along with it next week. So I'm going to domino, I'm going to pocket hole. There's going to be all sorts of joinery, weird and wonderful stuff. Okay, so I think that's it. Thanks everyone for watching. And I don't think I've got anything else here to talk about. Look after yourselves, be nice to each other, and I shall see you next week. Bye.